Mark your calendars now for February 17th to the 19th, 2026. Because if you miss this, you'll be playing catch up all year. This is the future unbound. And the most important higher ed marketing and enrollment management conference of 2026. Insights EDU is taking over Fort Lauderdale, where Google, Meta, Reddit, MIQ Digital, and top institutions nationwide will pull back the curtain on what's next. Are you ready to adapt or be left behind? Insights EDU 2026 is where leaders become game changers. Register now at insightsedu.com. That's insightsedu.com. Early bird pricing ends December 15th, 2025. Support the EdUp experience for just $5.99 a month and lock in that rate for life. You'll get ad-free early access to episodes. But hurry, price goes up after December 31st, 2025. Visit edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com and click support the show.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to ed up on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. This is Dr. Joe Solucio back with you on another episode. And as I would like to do is I take the first 5 minutes or so and get on a soapbox of some kind. But the time was stolen from me today by my co-host. And he's here. He was just chatty. He came on. I think he thought we were recording from the minute he showed up. But I'd enjoy having him here because he's full of zest in life and excitement about higher education and its possibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring him in right now. He's Brent Ramden. He's CEO of Education Dynamics. Brent, true or false? You were chatting it up when you came in here.
Well, it's not often that I meet someone in, I would say, my circle immediately, but we haven't met in person yet. And so, our guest today I'm pretty excited to chat with her. Excited to learn more about her institution, and as we get into the conversation, really just her vision for really a private Catholic education.
So true then. Is what you're saying. That true, you did steal my time.
Okay, I resemble that remark.
Yes. Well, that's good. No, it was great to see you guys hit it off right away and to jump right into discussion that we need to rehash just a little bit because it was so good. We got to make sure that we get it on recording. Let's get her in right now so we can redo that whole conversation about values and great education. She's Dr. Christina Clark. She is president at LaRoche University. Christina, welcome to an EdUp microphone. How are you?
I am great. Really happy to be here with you today. And of course, Brent, and to talk about one of my favorite topics, LaRoche and Catholic higher ed and the good that higher ed in general does these days.
Good way to set the foundation because we like to talk about the good here. So, but level set for us. Put LaRoche in context. Where are you physically located? Who do you serve and how do you serve them?
Well, LaRoche is an independent Catholic university in the beautiful North Hills of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We were founded in 1963 by the wonderful Sisters of Divine Providence. And from the very start, LaRoche has aimed to educate students, and our students tend to be drawn from lower and middle income families. And our mission has always been to offer a transformative education, to really meet students where they are and get them where they want to be, to empower them through transformative education that is grounded in the liberal arts, but also joined with professional education in creative ways so that they can have those timeless and timely skills to achieve career success, to have family supporting wages, and to live lives of purpose and service in their communities, and to promote justice and peace in a constantly changing global society. We do not live in a bubble. We are all interconnected. We want to empower everyone to become lifelong learners because right now you must be. we focus on, given the charism of the Sisters of Divine Providence and our core values that we share with them, we want to create a community of learners from around Pittsburgh, the country, and around the world. We want to foster global citizenship. Around 20% of our student body has been international, at least since the 90s. We want that to continue. We are, in fact, expanding our global education. So the good news is that we have proof, not only, I mean, since I came in as president over a year ago, I've been intensely meeting with current students, with alumni, with people in the region, and I've been hearing stories over and over and over again of impact. People come up to me and they say with tears in their eyes, LaRoche transformed my life. I owe my whole career success to LaRoche. One graduate, an international graduate from Rwanda, told us that he owed his life's purpose to LaRoche. We have basically reinvigorated our philanthropy by meeting with alumni who have not been asked to support the university, and they're at the end of their careers. And this particular couple I'm thinking of did not have children, but they were very successful. And so they gave us, 7-figure bequest in their will saying that we owe this and we want to give it back to LaRoche so that you can empower our students in the same way. So it really, not a month goes by that I don't meet several people, alumni from the 60s on, and current students who share these same types of stories. So that's different than what I've experienced before. Of course, I've not been president before. So, so those stories, those anecdotes, the qualitative data on our impact is matched by our quantitative data that we have gathered, showing that, and this, we always thought we were very transformative and had a lot of impact, but we had our partners EAB crunch the numbers for us, and our career outcomes for students are actually at the top of the Pittsburgh region. Pitt is close, but we are better in our student career outcomes. And they know that that's the case. We know it's the case because we have this very different way of delivering experiential education. I mean, most places do experiential learning, but we do it in a way that it starts first semester, year one, through our core curriculum, and then through the majors. It is in every major program through what we call the Solve Center, where local businesses and nonprofit organizations will come to us like, we have this need, and can your students help us with this? And they do. And so they have not just community, like through our core curriculum, in their first and second years, they decide there's a problem they want to research in a core class, maybe human trafficking, maybe it's hunger. And then they connect with a local nonprofit. Pittsburgh has an amazing range of nonprofits, and they do service for those nonprofits. They research the problems, and then they present to the community on the results of their research and the results of their service. They do that at, 18 if they come in right out of high school, or if they're transfer students. And because it's local and they're passionate about putting their values into action that way, by the time they graduate, they have a number of these experiential learning experiences, to repeat myself. So it's a comprehensive and immersive experience. And that, EAB tells us, having done their research, is very different than the way other people do it. And I think that's the reason why for our class of 2024, 97% of students got jobs, went to grad school, professional schools, or into service. And so we have this distinctive academic way of doing experiential learning. And we have this really wonderful culture of care that enables students to feel confident in doing those types of things. Some of them come in. I met with students last year, and the first semester freshmen were really freaked out because their faculty member expected them, if they didn't have cars, to take a bus to that nonprofit to do their service learning. And they had never taken a bus before, and they didn't feel it was, that's not a safe thing to ask somebody to do. But they were able to do it. They grew, they experienced that. And 98% of our students, again, this is class of 2024, latest data, felt safe and supported on campus. So I think those two things go together to achieve those outcomes. So students come in, they're concerned about the economy doing well, being able to get jobs, being able to have a positive impact in the world, and to be safe in what is a almost unimaginable context now in this world of the digital age. And we're able to create an environment where they can really thrive. So that's historically something we've done. And a new thing that I'm really focusing since I came in as president to build on that. I feel strongly we have a moral obligation to ensure that our students have the skills necessary to succeed in this time. I never thought I would be living through an industrial revolution like we're living through now. But I came in and I said, what are we doing to help students with AI? Because you can't get an entry-level job now practically without basic AI skills. And there hadn't been an organized effort. Individual faculty were doing a great job, but the university hadn't focused on it. So I put a task force together of faculty and staff. And last year, the faculty embedded instruction on ethical AI use and basic AI skills into the digital literacy core class and into senior seminars across majors. We also rolled out an AI literacy micro certificate for students, faculty, and staff, free for all of them. All first-year students earned this as part of that digital literacy core class. Other majors embedded that into courses, and faculty and staff earned it as well. So everyone graduating as of last spring had knowledge of ethical AI use and basic AI skills that they could demonstrate. So that's something that we have to build on. We will build on. But our students have to be flexible learners, and they get that from the liberal arts core education. They have to be resilient, and we try to help them be that through this experiential learning and other support systems. And they have to be lifelong learners. If they're not those three things, it's going to be very hard for them to thrive. What is it? Was it the World Economic Council who said students graduating today will work in like 17 different jobs across 5 different industries? I have so much compassion for them. We must set them up for success.
Amazing.
A lot there, Brent. Go ahead.
I love how you've taken the sort of liberal arts core, which I feel like liberal arts is kind of having a moment right now because, in the last 20 years, it was about precision and science and engineering. And now we're on the cusp of the robots being more precise than humans. But now the new skills of the future tends to go into that area of creativity and expression and really human elements to it. But you've embraced that at the core and also built a structure that's has high career orientation. And you alluded to it, given who you serve, that there is amount of anxiety as it relates to taking this journey. As you see the incoming class today and you compare it to students, 10, 20 years ago, where do you think, the university and the colleges will go? Because I think you're a little bit ahead of it, as you said, in terms of linking that career outcome through experiential learning and doing it with the same value set. But I'm just wondering, what would you share to, to other leaders in the space that maybe are not connecting the dots the same way? What do you see, and how do you see this expressed with your students?
It's interesting because they are, of course, highly concerned about that first step after graduation. Because we all know that a liberal arts education results in things like you earn $1 million more across your work life than those without this type of education. But, their parents might be interested in that, but that does not resonate with them. They want that immediate, what am I going to do right after I graduate? So that's why I'm so concerned about the AI. My own daughter is very anti-AI, and she's 24 and she's starting a graduate program, but I said to her, you can't not engage with it because it's a skill, like using the calculator was, and it has lots of problems. I mean, there are lots of dangers in terms of AI, and that's why we need the ethical AI use and guardrails and things like that. But, and just the garbage in, garbage out kind of thing around AI. But you have to sort of mindfully prepare for that first step. It's changing so rapidly in terms of, I check Indeed.com regularly. What are entry-level jobs looking like? What do employers want? I think that's one thing I'm asking my board of trustees now to get more involved in. I'm starting a task force for trustees. What is AI being used to do in their industries? What are they looking for in entry-level students? Because we are hearing now that even college graduates are having a harder time getting an entry-level job because AI is doing so much of it. So what skills and experiences do students need to sort of skip that entry level and move on? And a lot of it is in terms of emotional intelligence, being able to work collaboratively in teams, being able to manage their time. And some of that, we're still dealing with the effects of the pandemic where they didn't have some of this. So trying to help them catch up by creating low-tech opportunities to gather, to learn, even as we're forcing them to acquire basic AI skills and an ethical knowledge of how to use AI. And we're doing that. We contracted with Grammarly to get that fenced in safe space. And so that their data is not being used to, sucked out into other AI systems. So trying to really help them with those technical aspects, but also another thing that I did, I am so concerned that students learn what's called constructive dialogue techniques, learning how to talk to someone who thinks differently than themselves, because that's useful for not just your personal life, getting a job and keeping a job, being able to work in teams, leading people, and also to be a good citizen in democracy. So I led La Roche's application for, it's a partnership in the Association of Catholic Colleges and Universities and the Constructive Dialogue Institute. So we were one of 12 universities nationwide chosen to participate in this, where our faculty and staff learned constructive dialogue techniques and then taught them in the spring to certain faculty, students, and staff, like the resident assistants, learn these techniques. And we're expanding that program this year. I want it embedded in the curriculum. Because have you read the book by, I think it's Amanda Ripley, High Conflict?
Not.
Oh, I really recommend it. We had her as a speaker at the Council for Independent Colleges Presidential Institute last year. And so I was intrigued because it's how conflict sparks and how you can prevent it, and then how you can de-escalate it, and real simple techniques for this. And I'm like, everyone should read this in the whole world, because we live in such a high conflict, divisive time, and it's all so unnecessary. So I think our students, when I came in as president, I went to all these new presidents things, the Harvard one and the CIC one, and they're all, make sure you're protesting, your policies around protesting are rigorous and all of this stuff. So I came in and I said, okay, do we have the right policies? And what's the experience at La Roche? And people looked at me like I had three heads, and they're like, well, our students don't protest. And I said, what? Students should be politically engaged. This is important. And they said, well, they just don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And it's interesting because our students are, we don't ask them for this data, but the student newspaper a few years ago did an informal poll, like, what were your political ideas? And it's pretty much our students are half and half. Democratic, Republicans, Independents, and they don't want to hurt each other's feelings. They're very nice and respectful. And through our La Roche Experience core curriculum, they're used to talking with people who are different from themselves, be it ethnic, racial, religious, socioeconomic. And we know this through NESI. Our students score way higher than other Catholic colleges and universities, other Carnegie class across the board in those areas of dialogue across differences. So it's something that we teach, but I want students to get those constructive dialogue techniques to engage with hard issues and not to avoid them out of fear of hurting somebody's feelings.
I feel like you're living an important value there, and if I can wave a magic wand, that course and curriculum would be delivered nationally, meaning to everyone in our nation.
Yes.
I truly believe this is where your value system helps society, and again, delivering an education that creates positive outcomes, employment and earnings for your students, but also teaching them to really think in a fundamentally different way, and really embrace the challenges they're going to run into in life in a way that lets them conquer it. Christina, how was this always a part of the institution's culture? Or was this something that you would say, as the president, that you actively nudge along? It sounds like you do a fair amount of actively nudging this along and putting up the guardrails so that elements of culture and value system is preserved, and sort of preserved all the way down to the classroom level and then ultimately the student level. Can you talk a little bit about that?
If you think you can coast into 2026, think again. Insights EDU is coming February 17th to the 19th, 2026, and it's taking over Fort Lauderdale for a beachfront experience. It's the event that will flip your marketing and enrollment strategy on its head. 3 days, over 65 expert speakers, and over 40 sessions. Zero fluff. Just powerhouse strategies from the most anticipated platforms like Google, Reddit, Meta, MIQ Digital, and the most forward-thinking schools in the nation. You'll get the real wins, the bold ideas, and the hands-on tactics to grow programs, drive engagement, and create the student experience today's modern learner demands. The question is, are you ready to lead, or will you get left behind? Mark your calendar, bring your team, and secure your spot at insightsedu.com. That's insightsedu.com. Early bird pricing ends December 15, 2025. See you in Fort Lauderdale. EdUp Experience has brought you powerful conversations with more than 400 college presidents and higher ed leaders over 1,000 episodes and counting. Now, we're inviting you to join us in shaping the future of higher ed podcasting. For just $5.99 a month, you lock in that rate for life, but only if you sign up before December 31st, 2025. As a supporter, you'll get ad-free early access to episodes. Prices go up after December 31st, but your rate never will. Visit edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com. Click support the show and join our community today.
Yes, I think it all goes back to our founders, the Sisters of Divine Providence. They are all about inclusivity, compassion, integrity, determination, which you need to put those into action, justice, peace, inspiration. And so these are the things that keep me in Catholic higher ed. At our very core, all Catholic institutions, all Christian institutions should be living out that requirement to respect the inherent dignity of every human person. And that really does infuse La Roche from its very start because of the sisters. And even now, as we've transitioned to lay presidents, as most Catholic universities have done, we keep those core values and we try to live them within our curriculum, within our extracurriculars. And it was so important to me. I mean, this is an historical thing that we've always had, to build on it now and to really deepen it in this time, which is why I engaged with the Constructive Dialogue Institute and why I invited Mira Coben, who I met when I was a dean at Marymount. He works in conflict resolution. And I invited him to be our commencement speaker. And he came in and gave a brilliant inspirational speech. The way to resolving conflict is by cultivating dignity. Everybody's dignity. Offering everyone respect, listening to hear and understand, first and foremost. And he's going to remain engaged with us because he was inspired by his visit to campus and our students, faculty, and staff. But I think that this is something students want to do. They want to have a positive impact. They're not interested in learning, dialogue across differences. They are interested in developing and enriching relationships. And so that's how I have to talk to them about it. And the Constructive Dialogue Institute, they train you to offer these programs at, welcome week, orientation events as a way to help people get to know one another off their phones. And then building trust. I mean, you can't have really constructive dialogue across hard issues unless there's trust built. And I think you build that trust through respecting everyone's human dignity, listening, being open, like perhaps you don't have all the answers and you could learn from other people. And it's something that I think is, there are a lot of people out there who want to do that. It's just hard the way everything is set up now. There's very few things that we communally experience anymore. I mean, NFL football, perhaps. I mean, when people are out of they're together, they're off their tech, and they're experiencing something at the same time. So how we can create those opportunities for students to gather, and so many of them now just they have their single rooms. And
You've got something so special at La Roche. How do you communicate this to prospective students? Because it's almost like it needs to be felt, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering, this amazing experience, and I think of it as an educational product wrapped in an experiential and value system. How is that conveyed to the masses so that they find you?
Well, that is something that I think we're really focused on doing better. as of now. And so I think we have, with the help of VAB, really honed in on what makes us different from other universities. And then we gathered the data to prove it, both quantitative and qualitative. And now we created like a 4-page document of how we can communicate that. Mm-hmm. So we're, in terms of language that students are interested in. EAB did a great job of sharing with us what students expect. So, things that we were saying, oh, come to La Roche, we've got great teaching. Well, we do, but students expect that, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't think that that's a differentiator. Yeah. So we're really going in on how, with a La Roche education, given our distinctive culture of care and distinctive academics, that we're really offering peace of mind about that worry about that first job and for students and the whole career for parents, sharing the type of distinctive academics we offer, that different type of experiential learning, and the environment here in the North Hills of Pittsburgh, which is close, takes about 15 minutes on the highway to drive down into the city. So for internships and jobs, it's very close if you want that urban environment, but it's a very safe and beautiful suburb with huge parks and, malls and things like that. So students can feel safe here, supported here, and they're getting this type of experiential education that will really help them be successful. I had the great joy, is it 2 weeks now? I was invited down to the Allegheny County Courthouse with one criminal justice faculty member and one cyber security and forensics faculty member. Both had great careers at the FBI, because the DA, Steve Zappala, had invited 2 of our students who interned for his office this summer to present their data on homicides in Allegheny County. So we went down, they were presenting to the DA and some of his staff, and they did a brilliant job. And the data that they crunched, they aligned it with police initiatives like confiscating firearms and community policing efforts in different parts of the area of the county. And it was an amazing presentation with, data analytics and all of that. And he was fascinated by the way crime was traveling across the county. Mm. And so it gave him a lot of great data. And basically he was saying, we love your students. They come in with these skills and they're giving us this fantastic data, and we want to hire them all. And so one of them was like, well, I want to go to law school first. But it shows you that this type of experiential learning, so it's basically, in a nutshell, sharing the type of education that we offer in vocabulary of students and their families, what they want to and can take in, what they're looking for. And then sharing stories of our alumni, sharing stories of our current students. To me, that's what's powerful there.
Makes sense. Joe, sorry, I have been just...
No, I want you to keep going, Brent, because you guys are just... I keep going, honestly.
Well, I love how Christina is sort of describing, many times I would say you, meaning us in the world, we stereotype a smaller private institution in whatever part of the country they may be. And we don't always lean into exactly what makes you unique and special. And I think, Christina, if I were to guess, I would say you also have some special faculty.
Oh, yeah.
And student services that sort of live these elements. And, Is this something that you consciously manage with the team, or they bake it into their curriculum? It's pedagogical in many ways, and because I think this is something that is so genuine to the student experience and has a fundamental impact on the educational outcome. It is why your students will go on to grad school or careers or service right after. So can you talk a little bit about, call it the academic nurturing and the academic journey?
Yes. As someone, I still think of myself as, first I am a faculty member, and as a class assist, I taught in many different types of institution, but mostly in Catholic higher ed. And I often taught a lot of core classes. And I was a freshman advisor many, many years. So that gives me a really good foundation for empathizing with faculty experience here. So first, we attract certain types of faculty. No one goes into Catholic higher ed who's really motivated by money. Working to get the salaries up, of course, because social justice, but they have a passion for education and they want to authentically live their values. And they really want to work. We're a small university and we don't aim to get much bigger because we want this close one-on-one relationship with students where you really get to know them. You can write amazing letters of recommendation, and to see them grow from when they first come to when they leave is really rewarding. So they want this type of environment, and they want to, because students come in with all different preparations. And so you have a class full of students, and some are brilliantly prepared and ready to just zoom off, and others not so well prepared, especially with the pandemic effects. So faculty have great challenges around that because you want to challenge everyone, but not make it feel impossible for others. So we've got a really good academic student support services staff, devoted. We have great peer-to-peer opportunities in terms of tutoring and things like that, very successful. And we have faculty members, like we have a lot of athletes, student athletes, and their travel schedules are crazy. And we have faculty members who will ride on the bus with them to their games and tutor, work with them. So everyone is so devoted to La Roche, to our core values, and to our mission that we all love coming into work every day and being in this community and the work that we do. And I tell faculty and staff all the time, look, I've spoken with all these alumni, and these are what they tell me. Or here is the data about our impact. And I say, this is all your work. This is your impact. And to me, what do you want your life to mean? How do you want to spend the precious time of your life? And to me, obviously, I've spent the majority of my career in Catholic higher education, that I want to enable students to thrive. No matter what background they come into. One of our board of trustees members, actually, was a student in the late 70s, and he said, Christina, nobody else admitted me. La Roche took a huge chance on me. I was a basketball player. I struggled my first semester. I almost flunked out, but they connected me with the academic support services I needed. And he went on to be a vice president of a national organization. Hugely successful. And to hear him say that nobody else admitted me, and I almost flunked out, but everyone gathered around me and really helped me. It's often time management, these basic sort of life skills, but also feeling valued and supported and cared for. And I think we excel at that. And I like to think of us here in Pittsburgh, we have fantastic colleges and universities. I don't think of us as competing with one another because we find the students who want our environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the joy of connecting with the type of students who wants your type of education, because we want students to feel happy where they choose to go. And as a freshman advisor, I would really try to work with students. And if they really felt it wasn't the right fit for them, they really wanted a large state university or some other experience, that I would help them transfer, because we want them to be where they can thrive and be happy. So I think that Pittsburgh is a great area. It's got fantastic schools. And I just want to make sure that we reach the types of students in our marketing and including word of mouth, who would really value what we offer and be happy here, and that we could really serve well.
Well, this is the I have to tell you, of all the podcasting I've done lately, this has been my favorite episode, because I have had to do nothing. You guys took over, which is fantastic, and I got to listen and really soak in the information and worry about what I'm going to say next. It's a totally different experience, which is great. So thank you for that. But I do want to bring us back around to the fact that we do have to end this episode. And before we do, Christina, we like to ask two questions of our guests that we really conclude every episode with. Number one, what else do you want to say about LaRoche University that maybe we didn't cover? Anything that's top of mind, really anything that you can think of that you want to say, open microphone, and then close us out with what you see for the future of higher education.
Oh boy.
One easy one a little bit harder one.
Yeah, I guess one thing about LaRoche, we offer such a great variety of major programs and minor programs. And I think that what message I would like to get out is that the smart thing to do is to major in what you love, be it a liberal arts major like philosophy, which is a fantastic major for whatever you want to do, or a technological, like a computer science degree, or IT of other sorts. Data analytics is a big one. But make sure that you then minor in something that's different. So if you're in a technological degree, minor in a liberal arts, and liberal arts degree, minor in something more technical, so that you're getting that full range of skills that you really need today, and that you're really ready to just constantly be learning, constantly get new certifications to keep up at the rapid rate of technological change. And LaRoche is really mindful about ensuring students have those opportunities to do that. And I'll do a special shout out to our relatively new cybersecurity and forensics degree, which we started really a year and a half ago. And there's just a huge need for people with those skills now. So we'd like to attract more to that, even though we have a really great incoming class. But also we're excited about our aviation management degree that we're offering in collaboration with Community College of Beaver County, which has a tremendous national reputation in piloting and oh gosh, I'm blanking out, air traffic controllers. And so they get the technological skills from CCBC, and they're great faculty, but they get the management skills in the 4-year degree from LaRoche. So if they want to move up at all in their fields, they really need that 4-year degree. And overall, I'd like to say to the audience, I'm sure everyone already knows this, but 4-year degrees are more important than ever. What was it? Georgetown Center for Education and the Workforce says by 2030, 42% of the jobs are going to require bachelor's degrees. So it's really important that we get that word out to people that they do need these things. They're not obsolete, because you hear in the news, oh, employers don't care about 4-year degrees. Evidently, they do. Although, of course, you want the student to be happy in their career. Not everyone will want a 4-year degree. Some people will want to go to trade schools and get those valuable skills and certifications, which we desperately need as well. So those are some things I'm excited about LaRoche that I haven't said yet. Also, our clinical mental health counseling graduate degree and array of healthcare graduate degrees that are in such great need now, but students' ability to access is getting harder because of the elimination of Grad Plus and other types of federal loans. So we're at LaRoche really trying to work with local partners to be able to get information out to students. All right, these loans are going away. Here are some other relatively, hopefully low interest loans on the private sector that you can access to fund your education, because I think that's a huge crisis coming our way. I can't believe that banks and credit unions aren't looking at the federal actions eliminating the subsidized federal loans and planning to come up with a reasonable product they can offer students as well. But our lower income and middle income students will not be able to get these graduate degrees in healthcare that are so desperately needed without loans. And if people are serious about keeping student debt down, then we really need to do something about that. So that's something that when that happened, when that bill passed, I gathered my leadership team and said, all right, how can we help our students? This is a crisis. So I think higher ed needs to do what a lot of us are trying to do now, is really get the word out about our impact in our communities and to work closely with our congressional and state representatives so that they know their needs of their constituents and the value of the universities in their areas, so that we can, spread the good news that if our universities close, they will lose millions and millions of dollars to their local economy, and their constituents will be unable to get the degrees that will enable them to get into workforce areas that there are already tremendous shortages. So I think that getting out the good that higher ed does, the transformational effect it has on students' lives, what they then go on to do with their degrees in their communities, all of this is so important to share widely. And I think we're starting to do that, but people need to have open ears in order to hear that message.
Brent, what did you think about this great conversation that you had with Christina and its importance?
I enjoyed. I think Christina is on the right path with her university. And more importantly, I think when leaders like Christina are anchored in the right value system and the right objectives, like she just articulated, the institution and her and her staff will be amazingly successful at the impact they want to deliver.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Another incredible episode of the EdUp Experience podcast. A lot of great information about the human aspect of everything that we do in higher ed, and it's more important than ever here in our technology-driven world. One place where that is stressed mightily is at this college with this president. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Christina Clark. She's our guest today, president of LaRoche University, and you just EdUp.
Attention, higher ed leaders. It's time to shake up your marketing and enrollment strategy. Join us at Insights EDU, February 17th to the 19th, 2026 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a beachfront experience and the best higher education marketing and enrollment management conference. Early bird pricing ends December 15th, 2025. Register now at insightsedu.com. The future unbound is at Insights EDU 2026. The EdUp Experience has delivered over 1,000 episodes with higher ed leaders from around the world. Now you can support the show for just $5.99 a month and lock in that rate for life when you join before December 31st, 2025. you'll enjoy ad-free early access to episodes. Go to edupexperience.com. That's EDUP experience.com. Click support the show and secure your lifetime rate today.